Hi there, my name's Louis Taylor. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm a composer based in Bristol, and today I'm doing a video about adaptive video game music once again. This time, first of all, got my new microphone. It's actually my old microphone, kind of. I had an Aston Origin, and which is an amazing microphone, very affordable too. And it was broken for some reason. They didn't know what was wrong with it, or at least they didn't tell me. And I just sent it off for repair, and they gave me it back within a week. A new one, brand new one. It's lovely and clean and everything. It sounds fantastic. I'm really happy with it, so that's great. I'm going to be doing a video about adaptive video game music. Specifically, how I'm going to take a track that I've written for Adapt, as usual, and how that's going to be. Basically, I'm going to be showing you exactly what my process is from putting this from Logic into FMOD. Now, I kind of have done that before with FMOD and Logic, but this is a different kind of track. So before, in the last one, I showed you a kind of ambient biome theme tune, basically, which plays when you're in a specific area of the game. I think last time it was the Arctic biome. Now, this is a conflict-based track, and we've got a bit of a different system. So whereas before, there's it's kind of similar. There's multiple different sections in the normal tracks. There's a couple of different loops that have varying chord progressions and all that kind of thing. And there are also some swells and some transitions and some stings, like an opening and an intro and stuff like that. And then within those sections, there's varying layers which come in and out depending on triggers in the game, but also just random chance, in case there aren't any triggers, just to vary the loops and the music and stuff. Now, whilst that is quite similar to the conflict tracks, it's actually different. So the layers are in the original tracks for the biomes, they're not really layered in any specific way, like intensity, for example. They are just different kind of parts of the music, like the flutes or a bit of percussion here or the strings, and I kind of split them up into lots of different layers and then vary them basically like that. They come in and out throughout the loop. So you can check that out in my last couple of videos. I'm going to put a link in the description and maybe up here, I think, about those videos, so you should check them out. But yeah, this is going to be about the conflict-based tracks. Now I'm going to jump over to Logic and show you exactly what's going on here. So let's have a look. So as we can see, it's split up into sections up here at the top. Now I'm just going to do that so it's a bit easier to see. Now currently I'm dealing with audio files, and I'll explain why in a minute. But basically, to start with, we have an intro, which is this, a loop A, a loop B, but these are specifically for the stealth part of it. So this track is the stealth conflict theme and the chase conflict theme. So the idea is that if you're a creature in Adapt and you're a predator, you will be kind of stalking up to your prey, quietly, intensely, with a lot of tension and suspense, so it's got this kind of sneaky, spooky vibe going on. And then there's a chase after that, because inevitably the animal will try and run away. The creature that you're preying after will run away. So that chase part is meant to be like, first of all, dominant, because you're the predator, you're the thing that's actually in control of this chase. You're not frantic, you're calm, you're running after this thing, not for your life, but because you're hungry. So it's not going to be as hectic as like, music that represents something running away. So there's two different perspectives here, and I'm going to do another track where you are running away, the fleeing conflict theme. And then there's a couple of different loops. So there's the chase loop A, and then there's the chase loop B, a transition between the stealth and the chase, and a little outro stinger as well, basically. Now, it's important to probably note that all of these conflict themes are in the same key, which is just kind of, they're all rooted on A. It's kind of minor, but it's modal. There's no specific. It's kind of bitonal in areas. There's lots of chromaticism. I wouldn't say it's A minor or A major, but it kind of varies basically. So just A is the root note. The reason why is because that way we can easily transition into the other conflict themes, because the situations vary very differently. So if we were, let's say, stealthily stalking up to your prey, and you start chasing it. And then suddenly that prey decides to have a fight with you instead of run away. Then this music wouldn't work the same way anymore. So then we switch over to the conflict theme, which is like the fighting, you know. So it's much more kind of intense, like it's meant to be like from both sides you're actually now fighting for your life. So it's very intense and kind of action packed and all that kind of thing. But equally, you know, you don't know, you might have to start running away because this game's crazy. You know, there's all sorts of creatures. You might start preying on random crap that, you know, it gets pretty nuts out there. So you might have to start running away. Then we have to transition immediately on that bar. You know, as soon as that bar ends, we have to transition into the fleeing theme. Or back and forth, back and forth. So if it's all in A, it sounds great and you won't notice it, but the music is just going to be flowing and really nice and interactive. This is why I love adaptive video game music. There's so much you can do with it. And of course, key changes are a thing, and you can do that in the transitionary loops and moments and stuff like that. But it's just so much easier to keep it in A, and I don't really see why I would put it in another key. There's no real function for it. It's actually just so much more functional to have it like this. So anyway, we've got the sections organised. Now, what I've got here in Logic is I've got all of these audio tracks. I've layered it into a different folder. So we've got a bass layer, which is like always playing. And we've got 3 levels of intensity. And in each one, we've got different audio tracks. And basically, the idea is that I've just kind of sectioned out my composition from up here, the main instrument section, which I'll show you in a minute. And it's all nicely organised so I can see what's what. I've colour-coded it, and then I will just bounce a section like this. You know, I'll bounce that, I'll just click OK and call it chase loop A intensity 2, you know. So, and then I'll put that into its own folder, and then I'm going to put that into FMOD. So I've just done exporting them all. I'm going to close the bass layers. Now, this is the main instrument, so this is the actual composition. Currently, they're all muted. I can definitely unmute them, though, now that I've finished with it. So basically we've got all of these nice sections. Before I split them up, they were all joined into one thing because I like to compose like that, and then I split them up so that the reverb tail is natural, and then I edit a kind of like a little fade on the end of it so that it's nice and easy to loop. So yeah, so it's not just a quick cut off like that. Now, once I've done this, I will figure out which things I want into different intensities. So, okay, the marimba, these things, the cello, and, I don't know, the toys and the djembe in the percussion. That can all be the bass layer, so I'm going to bounce that. Actually, what you do is you can press Control-B on a Mac. I'm not sure what it is for PC, but normally you would press Command-B to bounce something. Oh, well, it's Logic anyway, you can't get it on a PC. Bonk. Okay, so yeah, you press Control-B, and then this comes up, and you can basically select a track down here. So let's say I wanted to put this into the bass layer. Let's just say I wanted to bounce the percussion bass layer, and then you click percussion over here, and then you come over here, highlight this, highlight that, pressing Shift, Control-B. Then it says, oh, that's weird. Normally it comes up with selected track. So let's just try that again. Okay, that's very peculiar. I'm not really sure why that's happening. Okay, so what happens is you know, you select a track. Let's say I want percussion here, and you just go like this. Let's just say the toys for now. For some reason, it's not letting me do it in the percussion. Let's just try bass, just so I can show you it. Just put them. I tell you what. Let's go for strings, and we'll just take the cello, and then you click selected track, and then you bounce it. And it essentially just goes into this section here, and now it's an audio file, and I can just deal with that how I want to deal with it. So that's that. Now, let's see what else. Basically, that's the way you organize it into these little nice, neat intensity levels of sections. Once you've bounced them all into these nice sections, you then close that. You can mute it, or you can just mute the instruments, whatever you want. And then I just bounce this section here, put it in a folder, adapt, primary tracks, conflict tracks, stalking, chasing. I've got an FMOD folder. Then I have these 4 different folders: bass layers, intensity 1, intensity 2, intensity 3. Right, so now we've got all that sorted. Let's move over to FMOD, and I can show you how I just organised that, because I'm going to do it from scratch live here on the camera. Okay, so we're in FMOD now. The first thing we want to do is create a new project. So we've created one. I'm going to hit save, and it's going to ask me where do I want to put it. So I'm going to go to adapt, primary tracks, conflict tracks, stalking, chasing, FMOD, and we'll whack it in here. And we'll just call it adapt underscore conflict underscore stalk hyphen chase, and that'll be that. So we'll save that in there. So this is great. So now what we want to do is we want to create a new event, and we want to make it a 2D action. Whoops, no we don't. Let's delete that. Now we want to make a new event, and we want to call it a 2D timeline. So this is what we've got now. We've got this nice timeline. So I'm going to duplicate these tracks, or just add a new track. Add a bunch of audio tracks. It's not as intuitive as Logic, to be honest, but it is what it is. It works well. So we only need 4. Now what we're going to have is we're going to have the bass layer, intensity level 1, intensity 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we've got all these tracks, and all we need to do now is essentially go to assets, and what I'm just going to do is simple as this. In fact, I'm going to move that to there, and then what you have to do, you just move all of them into this, and then we've got all these nice folders with all these audios in, and that's fantastic. So then what we need to do, we're going to add in the bass layers. So we can split these into the loopable sections in a moment, but I'm going to just add in all the bass layers for now. So we've got the intro stinger. We're going to add that in first. And then we have the stalking bass layer. I can't tell if this is B or A, but oh, this isn't B. That's inconvenient. Make it do that first. So that's accidentally made that into a multi-instrument, but that's fine. So we'll just move that over there. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that's what we want. Then we want to bring in the transition bass layer. I'm going to whack that there. Make that bigger. Chase loop A. And chase loop B, and then the outro stinger after that. Okay, brilliant. So we've got all of our bass layers now. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a little tempo map. So what I want to do is add a tempo marker at the beginning here. We're going to make it whatever it was in Logic, which I have already forgotten. So I know that it starts in 5/4. In fact, I'm pretty sure the whole track is in 5/4. And then we have to change the BPM, so I can't remember what it is. I think it might be 80. Edit tempo. Let's just make it 80 for now, for the sake of it. And then when we get to, the chase loop A, we're going to just double that to 160, because that's what I've done. So we'll add another tempo marker. That'll be fine. Oh god. Edit tempo 160, and then we'll make that 5/4 as well, because it's just double speed basically. I'm just going to go and check what that was in Logic real quick. Okay, so turns out it was 85 and 170. Pretty close. Okay, so we've got that now. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom into these early ones here. And I'm going to make them so that they all start at the beginning of a bar. Just because it makes it a hell of a lot easier to work out the transition points if that's the case. Okay, and we'll make sure that one starts at the beginning of a bar. We'll just move that to oh, for God's sake, why can't you just drag that? That's really quite annoying. Oh, what have I done? Oh, there we go. That's really weird that it's done it like that though. That's fine, doesn't matter. Okay, anyway. Fucking don't know what the hell's going on. But basically, we're nearly there, so it doesn't matter. So let's put that in 51. Right, so they're all organised into bars now, which is great. This is the great thing about FMOD, is that it's actually quite musical. It's not just an audio world, you know, it's actually quite musical. It's got some bars, you can get the tempo, so it makes it really easy for someone like me, a composer, to come along and actually edit stuff. And also, if I sync it up like this, the audio implementer, which is the game developer in this instance, the person who actually codes it all and puts it into the game, they won't know what all the information is here. So much easier if I can do this myself. So we've got all these. Let's just check if we can hear this. Yeah, we can hear it. Okie dokes. Now we're going to add in the intensity levels. So intensity 1, chasing loop, A. So I'm just going to whack that there. They all sync up to be the same length. That's also very important because it helps with a lot of confusion and stuff like that. Stalking. Intensity loop A. Just bear with me when I pop all these in. Intensity A2. Can't stress how nice it is to be organised as well. It really helps a lot. And then finally the final level of intensity, which is only in the chasing. You can always add more layers, and you can always add more music, and, you know, basically just save over the file as well. So like if I wanted to add, you know, oh, this stealth loop needs a xylophone or extra oboe or whatever, I can then just basically go into Logic, add that in, and then save over this file, and it will all automatically update because it's all just the same. It's all taking it from the same source that way, so it's really helpful. So now we've got all these levels in. I'm essentially gonna make sure that it all loops properly. So I'm gonna make some regions. To start with, I'm just gonna make some loop regions, just so that I can essentially make sure that I know where everything is and all that. So these are just loop regions here. Loop region. You can make it transition regions as well. So it's up to you what you want to do with that. You can just drag these down like that. And then one more here. I'm not going to let these loop. These are not loopable. Well, perhaps this one is actually loop region here. But the ending and the intro, they're just little stingers. So what we want to do is we want to add a transition region, and we're going to make that down here. We're going to make this half the length because just going to do that. Okie dokie. So now there will be some reverb that I'm going to ramp up on that part, which will mean that the cutoff isn't as crazy. There's some other things you can do with like making it extended and stuff, and actually like fade into this loop here. For example, I think if I just do this, then it will kind of so that works nicely. I can leave that looping in there, and you know, if there's any part of this that I don't understand, I can just explain what I want to do to the game developer, and they can just add it in. Same thing here. So now what we want to do is add a let's see here. So the next thing we want to do is add a transition to loop region. Maybe we'll call these. Whoops. Rename. So we'll call this one stalking loop A. And we'll just copy that and we'll rename them. So this helps with just like general organizing and stuff like that. Call it chasing loop A. Right, B. Transition. And this one can just be called Well, it doesn't matter because they're just the outros. So what I want to do is add a transition destination marker and a destination region. So this one is going to be called intro. And then we're going to make that onto a new thing down here. You know, I'll do it like that. That's kind of nice. Then we're going to put a... In fact, I'm going to make the... Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Okay, then I'm going to make another destination... Actually, I think it's a transition. Oh, this is what we want. So we want... Okay, so what we want to do is add a transition to region stalking loop B, and we want to put that at the end here. Then we want to add the same thing. Now what I'm going to do is stalking loop A, but I'm going to put that at the end of this one, so that these stalking loops can just, you know, go around in a circle, basically. Now, basically what you can do is add all of these in for the different regions, and everything works. Whoops. Everything transitions to everything you want, basically. So chasing loop A, I'm going to put that at the end here. Going to go to transition to region loop B. Add transition to region loop A again at the end of this one. Whack that up there. Now, what we can do is also add a transition region to stalking loop A above this, so that it can we can decide which one it goes to depending on what's going on in the game. If you continue stalking, you can just go back. If you want a little bit of a transition, a little bit of a break from the loops, you can do that. So you can use it as kind of like a little swell. So I'm going to add another one for here as well. It's kind of annoying how everything is... There we go. There we go. That makes everything a lot easier. And then I'm going to delete this intro thing. I'm going to add a transition to... I think you do actually have to make that a loop region. Or you can make it a transition region if you want, but I'm just going to make it a loop region, not for it to loop. We'll call that one intro. And we'll drag that down here, and we'll do the same thing for the outro, and we'll add a loop region for the outro. And Bob's your uncle, basically. So at the end, region outro, I want to put that there. I'm going to copy that and put it over here. I'm going to put it basically everywhere, so that you can just end the piece wherever you want. So you might stop stalking halfway through, and then it just needs to go. You know what I'm saying? So if I wanted to go, and then it just goes bonk. So we've got all these nice little things here. I just need to add a couple more. So we want one for transition to stalking loop A at the end here. So I'm not really sure why that didn't work. So you can change how often it does this, but see, it would kind of just go to the end. Or if I wanted to do it from here, nice. So then you just get a nice outro at every point. Oh, this time it's decided to go back to the chasing. Okay, so we've got all that now. I've added all of these regions. Now the next thing I'd like to do to make the transitions for the loops a little bit nicer is add some reverb. So I'm going to add onto this level, I'm going to add a reverb. And I'm just going to change the levels of this. So dry can be 0, wet can be about -20. Reverb time, I'm going to make it, for now, 20 seconds. Sorry, 2 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer for the section. So I want a base level of 2 seconds, I think. And then, in fact, I'll have a base level of 1 second, and I'll make the wet level a little bit higher. So now what we want to do, we can actually automate this. So we can add automation to each thing. So I want to, at the end of this, I want it to be much higher. So like that, basically. I want to add a lot of time to it at the end of each loop. So then it comes down again, and I'm going to make it much less here because there's already reverb on the tracks, basically. But this is just to help with transitions. So again, make it a few seconds here. Come down here. 400-ish, whatever. It's not really that important how long it is, as long as the idea is put across. This really helps with just smoothing stuff over without making stuff too wet, basically. So if you just put a massive reverb on there, it would help, but it would sound really muddy. Hear now how the reverb works. So I'm just going to go from, let's say, here, and you can hear how adding these in really helps. Let's just try the bass layer for now. So it's a lot more seamless, you know, there's not so much of a cut to the loop, you know, it's much nicer. So I'm going to basically copy all of this. I'm going to, in fact, you know what I'm going to do? I think if you just copy that reverb and bang it on there, should have the curves in already. So as you can see now, it's on all of the tracks. So I'm just going to show this intensity level. You can hear the reverb tail at the end, it goes to the outro. So it's not just so, you know, if I actually turn off this reverb, you can hear the difference. You see, once more. Yeah, so that works a hell of a lot better. So now I'm just going to try from here. So it's a lot smoother, a lot nicer, the loops work a lot better. There's still more you can do here, you can really get finicky with it, and there's a lot you can do with like transitioning from like individual bars. And I'm going to do another video about that at another time, about how to kind of make the transition points available all throughout each bar, basically. So you can go from the middle of a piece, from the start of the next bar, you can actually go to another section rather than waiting for the whole loop to finish. So I can show you that in a separate video, but for now, this is how you, this is the basic looping of a conflict track with a different layering, and I just wanted to show you how that works. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for watching. I really like doing these, so if you enjoyed them, I would really appreciate your support, some likes. You know, give me a like for the Adapt game. They're doing a great job over there. I'm gonna leave the Adapt trailer down below, as well as the Adapt Steam page. It's a great game. You will love it if you love games about animals and evolution and stuff like that. It's kind of like Spore. Please do subscribe. That means an awful lot to me, and I'm almost at 500, which sounds kind of small, but it means an awful lot for me to reach that, and then I can finally start monetizing videos, which might help a lot eventually. And yeah, leave a comment, share. It's been great. I really love interacting with you guys. So thanks so much for watching and getting to the end of this, and I hope you found it useful. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye for now.